The book is Stillness on Shaking Ground. The author is Carol Wilson. She joins us in studio. Hello.
Oh, hi,
so good to have you back. It's been a while.
I know it has. It's been almost 2 years since I've seen you.
It's been since the earthquake.
I know.
In Nepal.
It has.
And you have been, it seems like, in Nepal since then. You're out and about all the time. Talk to me about the writing of this book and why this was important to you. We know that you were really touched by the fact that you arrived at exactly the right or maybe wrong time last time you were in Nepal. What happened?
I arrived 5 minutes before the earthquake on April 25th, the 7.8 Gorkha earthquake. And so I stayed for 40 days. My family didn't want me there, of course.
Right,
but,
they were worried about you, but you wanted to help out.
Yeah, and so I stayed there for 40 days. I came back to the U.S. and I was offered a teaching position from Mewar University at Kibbe in New Delhi, teaching academic English writing. So it's nothing that I had anticipated or planned for.
Right.
It was just offered to me, and I decided to go back to New Delhi. And I was there for 8 months, and I only taught 3 hours a week. So I would go to my room, and my students I did not tell anyone I was writing a book, but now they understand why I was holed up in my room, because I wrote 90% of that book in New Delhi sitting on my bed.
Wow.
I'm not a desk person. So
Neither am I.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to work well.
So if I wouldn't have been there, I might not have cranked it out. While I was there, I made 3 more trips to Nepal, and I finished it up in Kathmandu.
Wow.
Because there's quite a bit of follow-up. You know, when I was in Kathmandu when the blockade was going on, the border blockade. In fact, I was there the day that it was lifted. So, but I've made 9 trips to Nepal.
9 trips?
9 trips to Nepal. So it has been a big part of my life.
It really has, and you write it from that. You write this book from that perspective, the fact that you have a pretty deep understanding of what the people are like and what they were going through. Well,
exactly. And you know, before the earthquakes, I was sort of a touristy Tamil person, and everyone speaks English. But the earthquakes really took me out into the village, and that's when I really started to study the caste and the culture. And I got into the villages, and no one spoke English. There I am, I'm sitting on, he's showing some pictures of, this is a typical scene, what the roads looked like.
After the earthquake?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I was sitting, you saw the picture of me sitting, that was actually a food delivery. After the second earthquake, a couple of weeks later, there was the Dolika 7.4 earthquake. And I was taking food to a village. It was really a helicopter drop area. The roads were so bad that the driver quit. I mean, I was dumped out on the road with all my food.
He's like, I'm done.
Yeah, he would not. And so I was about 6 hours away from Kathmandu when that happened, and had no idea how I was going to, you know, so among several villages there was one guy with a tractor and a trailer, and he came, yes, and so in the middle of the night, here I am on this tractor with this trailer hauling this food.
How do you convince somebody to do that at that point? This is crazy.
Yes. And then,
You're going door to door looking for a ride?
And then at 1 o'clock, you know, in the middle of the night, you know, we were hijacked.
Oh.
Yeah, a bunch of drunk guys hijacked us, stole some of our food. And, you know, I didn't care. I mean, I thought if people are hungry, they can have some food. I just didn't want them to take all of it, because there was a lot of food. And
a lot of little kids that need food.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest, the people who suffered the most often were the children.
Exactly.
This experience has had to have changed you. Talk to me about that.
Well, it really did, because I had never, you know, I'm an American.
Right.
And I've never seen poverty like that. I've never seen...
Yeah, it's hard for most of us to understand what it's like on a day-to-day basis.
Honestly, until you're actually in a situation like that, you realize what a sheltered life, you know, we've lived here in America. Even though I had traveled there a lot, I mean, as I said, I was kind of the tourist.
Right, that's a different perspective than the one on the ground.
It's a whole different perspective.
Yeah, when you start to get involved with the people and you see that what they're dealing with, that's much more powerful, isn't it?
Right, exactly. So I talk about sometimes the third world stress, you know, the poverty, and then there's the first world stress. And the difference is there's just so much mental affliction here. That's the first world stress. And personally, I feel more comfortable with the third world. I mean, I'd rather be without the electricity and the water and, you know, sleeping on the ground. And, you know, that's easier for me to deal with than the first world mental affliction.
Yeah, you're able to find peace of mind in a situation like that, aren't you? That's an odd thing when you think about it. When the basic needs are the hardest,
I know.
we're okay.
I know.
And then when the basic needs are taken care of and all we're worried about is like our relationships and weird things like that,
I know.
it's super stressful.
I know. And even when I wrote this book, everyone around me, there was absolutely no mental affliction. You know, everyone's just, you know, happy campers, you know.
Right.
And then, you know, as soon as I land here, you know, you just get hit with it. It's on a daily basis. It's almost like everybody I know is in crisis and going through stuff, and then I talk about the Western mind. And one of my mantras is, oh, well, you just have a Western mind.
It's the truth, though, right?
It really is.
Because if we could just simplify things down to, hey, we've got a nice place to stay, we got good friends and family, not that bad.
Yeah. You know, that's really all these people care about is their family.
That's it.
Because some of them, most of them have lost everything else. They're so happy. You know, the night I was hijacked, I woke up the next morning and I was in this makeshift tin hut with, you know, 4 generations of a family. And they gave me their best bed to sleep in.
Right.
You know? And so it's very common to see 3, 4 generations of family living under the same roof.
Not the way we do it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
We spread ourselves all over the world.
Yeah.
I have to say this when you consider these people, and when you consider this tragedy, the fact that they can smile is something, but the fact that they also have such a forward-thinking way of looking at things, that things will be okay. That's pretty astounding. What was if you were to take one thing from this, what was the takeaway? What was the biggest lesson learned from this for you?
The biggest lesson learned for me was I gained a different perspective on family values and values, basically. And I've been thinking about what I should write my next book, and there's such a difference between Eastern and Western values that I'm thinking that I need to address that in some way.
Are you hoping that we'll all start to adopt some of those other values, those the Eastern values that we've kind of maybe forgotten as we've searched for this American dream?
Yeah. I don't want to be pushy about anything like that, but at least if people have an awareness.
Yeah.
You know, there isn't the awareness that there really is a different world out there.
I think we've only ever said to our kids, you know, you need to finish your plate because there's starving kids in India. Well, that's great, but that doesn't really address the point. Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
The point is that there's people who are learn to be happy with a lot less than us. Right? Is that
right?
And the value of family that comes with that.
Yes, they have nothing and they're just very happy.
Wow.
You know.
Well, I want to take a break. I want to come back and talk a little more about this and the fact that you have a book signing coming up today. So I'm super
it's
stoked
tonight
about
at
that.
Dolly's Bookstore on
right.
Main Street at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8. And I just want to mention the picture. My Nepali friend Rajendra contributed that picture
it's
of
wonderful.
the Himalayas on Friends Adventure Team, and my daughter Eliel, Lindsay Meyer, who's a Park City gallery artist, did the cover.
Wow. Well, this is terrific. I got to tell you, I'm super excited for you. So it's at Dolly's Books tonight. Again, the time?
From 6 to 8.
6 to 8
tonight.
And then you'll be here. Then you'll also be having a book signing over at the Barnes & Noble tomorrow.
Barnes & Noble Sugar House at 1 o'clock from 1 to 3.
Oh, this is terrific. Now the artwork, you said the picture by your friend, but the artwork as well.
Well, my daughter designed
the
cover, and her work can be seen in Pando Fine Art and Old Town Gallery. It's Lindsay Meyer, LEL.
All right, we're going to definitely want to check that out as well. I want to thank you so much, as always, for coming and sharing with us. It's Stillness on Shaking Ground. You can find it at fine bookstores, including Dolly's, where you can get yours signed by the author, or tomorrow at Barnes & Noble and Sugar House. Again, Stillness on Shaking Ground. Carol Wilson.
Thank
you as
you.
always for being here.
So
Look
much.
forward to hearing more about your trips to Nepal. The next one, I'm sure, will be maybe not this exciting. We hope. Much more to come right after this.